the greatest story ever told. A long, long time ago, before there were people, houses, or even the bright sun in the sky, there was only God. He was there before anything else, and with his powerful words, he created everything. Creation. The beginning of everything. One day, God said, "Let there be light." And suddenly, light filled the universe, chasing away the darkness. He separated the sky from the land, made towering mountains and flowing rivers, and covered the earth with soft green grass, colorful flowers, and mighty trees that stretched toward the heavens. He filled the deep blue seas with fish that shimmered like silver, and the land with elephants, lions, zebras, and rabbits. Birds with feathers of red, blue, and gold soared across the sky, singing joyful songs. Then, as the sun set, God placed the twinkling stars in the night sky, like tiny lanterns to light up the darkness. But something was missing. So God bent down and, from the dust of the earth, formed the very first man, Adam. Then from Adam's side, he made Eve, the first woman. Together, they lived in a beautiful garden called Eden, where the fruit was sweet, the rivers were clear as crystal, and the animals roamed peacefully. The sad choice. But one day, a sneaky serpent, full of tricks and lies, whispered to Eve. He told her that if she ate from the one tree God had told them to avoid, she would become wise like him. Tempted, Eve took a bite and so did Adam. At that moment, sadness entered the world. Adam and Eve had to leave the garden, and the perfect world God had created was no longer the same. But God had a plan to fix everything, even though it would take a long, long time. Noah and the great flood. Many years passed, and the world became full of people, but they had forgotten about God. Only one man, Noah, still listened to him. God told Noah, "Build a great ark, for I will send rain to wash the earth clean." Noah obeyed and built a massive wooden ark. Soon, 2 of every animal, tigers, sheep, giraffes, parrots, and even tiny ants marched inside. When the rain poured for 40 days and 40 nights, the whole world was covered in water. But Noah, his family, and all the animals were safe. Finally, the rain stopped, and the ark came to rest on a mountain. A beautiful rainbow stretched across the sky. God's promise that he would never flood the world again. Abraham's promise and Joseph's journey. Time passed, and God chose a man named Abraham. One night, under the vast starry sky, God said, "Look at the stars, Abraham. One day, your family will be as many as these." And so it was. Abraham's family grew, and his great-grandson Joseph became a ruler in Egypt after his brothers had once sold him as a slave. But Joseph forgave them, and God used him to save many lives during a great famine. Moses and the Red Sea. Years later, God's people became slaves in Egypt. But God had a rescuer, a man named Moses. One day, as Moses walked through the desert, he saw a bush that burned with fire but was not consumed. From the flames, God spoke, "Go to Pharaoh and tell him to let my people go." Moses obeyed, and after many miracles, the Pharaoh finally let the Israelites go. But soon, Pharaoh's army chased after them. With the Red Sea in front of them and the army behind, they were trapped. But then, God did something amazing. He told Moses to raise his staff, and the sea parted in 2. The Israelites walked through on dry land, with towering walls of water on each side. David, the brave shepherd. Many years later, a young shepherd boy named David stood before a giant warrior named Goliath. The great Philistine laughed at the small boy, but David was not afraid. He picked up a smooth stone, placed it in his sling, and with a whiz the stone struck Goliath's forehead. The mighty giant fell with a thud, and David became a hero. David would later become a great king, and from his family, God's greatest promise would come. Jesus, the Savior of the world. One silent night, under a sky full of shining stars, a baby was born in a humble stable. His name was Jesus, and he was God's son, sent to fix what had been broken long ago. Jesus grew up, teaching people about love, kindness, and forgiveness. He calmed stormy seas, healed the sick, and even brought people back to life. But one day, some people did not believe Jesus was the Son of God. They put him on a cross, and he died. His friends were heartbroken. But on the third day, something amazing happened. Jesus rose from the dead. He was alive again, proving that love is stronger than anything, even death. Before returning to heaven, he told his followers, "Go and tell the whole world about me. I am always with you." The promise of a new heaven and earth. The story isn't over yet. Jesus promised that one day, he will come back. There will be no more sadness, no more pain, and the world will be new and perfect again, just like in the beginning. And so, the greatest story ever told continues, as we wait for the day when God's kingdom will last forever. The end, but also the beginning.